course I know. It's just Tuesday.
No, it's Wednesday.
Ah! All right, we gotta go.
What's happening, movie fans, and welcome back to Be Kind and Rewind, where we review all of your favorite movie franchises. I'm Owen Miles.
And I'm Blake Blodgett, and we are so glad to be back on WTOP for the first time since November, where we reviewed my favorite franchise, Jurassic Park.
This semester, we're kicking things off with one of the most action-packed franchises of all time, the Die Hard franchise.
Y'all know it, y'all love it, and we all love to dive into the controversy of whether or not it's a Christmas movie. While you are allowed to have your own opinion on that topic, we believe it is, and we have the evidence to prove it.
But we don't have time to present that evidence, so without further ado, let's dive into the OG Die Hard. The original Die Hard was released in 1988 and was directed by John McTiernan.
The film is centered around a New York police officer named John McClane as he tries to stop a group of terrorists infiltrating a Christmas party in Nakatomi Plaza in Los Angeles.
Legendary action star Bruce Willis plays John McClane, and the film also features Alan Rickman as the criminal mastermind Hans Gruber and Bonnie Badilla as John's estranged wife Holly Gennaro McClane. So,
The original Die Hard.
Yeah. Fun fact about this franchise, my grandma was actually the one that suggested it for the show.
Really? I didn't.
So, yeah.
This is news to even me, and
Yeah.
I am a producer of this show.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, basically, I was just talking to her, and she's like, you should do Die Hard. So, here we are.
Isn't that how all great ideas start? I mean, let's be honest. That's how all great ideas start.
So, yeah.
I mean, I think this is one of those movies where it's just like, what else is there to say?
It's
Die Hard.
It's the OG Die Hard,
It's
and
one of the better movies of all time. I'd say definitely one of the better action movies of all time, for sure.
yeah, I feel like if you think of an action movie, you think of Die Hard.
Yeah, like you think of like Die Hard, Terminator, like it's up in that upper echelon of like ones you think about. And
Yeah.
I personally really love it. I mean,
I really love it too. It's amazing. Like I think Bruce Willis really kills it as
Yeah.
John McClane.
and a lot of people back in the 80s did not think he was going to kill it. They thought he was going to be an awful casting. He was a sitcom actor,
Yeah.
actually.
Which
Alan
is crazy
Rickman,
to think about.
or Alan Rickman, rest in peace,
Yeah.
plays
Rest in
Hans
peace.
Gruber, one of the better villains in any action movie.
Yeah.
Everything he says is just so cool, and I love
He's
Alan
a
Rickman.
British actor.
Pretending to be a German,
Yeah.
who then at one point has to be a German pretending to be an American. He's trying to fool
Yeah.
John McClane. So it's like,
multitasking at its best.
yeah, that's like the definition of multitasking. I mean, I don't think we can compare. I really don't think we can compare.
I mean, I don't know how to do all those accents. Like,
I mean, I can do a impression of Hans Gruber, but
yeah. So,
which I'm not going to do on air because I don't want to embarrass myself because it's actually awful.
I'm sure it's not that bad. It's probably fine.
Just not as bad as your taste in sports teams, but that's not something we need to get into right now. What are some other things that we really like about Die Hard?
So, I think that it definitely, like, really, like you mentioned that Bruce Willis used to be a sitcom star, like, more than an action star, and nowadays all you think about with Bruce Willis is action star, like this big tough guy.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it really launched his career into the stratosphere. He became one of those like really big name like action movie actors, and I mean, he's up there. He's not on the same echelon as like a Stallone or Schwarzenegger, but like he's like probably the tier right below, which is still a very impressive. Like if you really think about it, it's quite impressive.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, there's just so much to love about this movie. All the action is really, really cool.
Absolutely.
I think it's some of the better action that you'll see, in my opinion.
In any movie.
Even still to this day, I mean, so much of the stuff just looks fake, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really love this movie.
Me too.
It's so good.
All right, let's get a look at our rankings for the first Die Hard.
If you couldn't guess, number one, it's the best movie of the franchise. It can only go down from here, unfortunately, but not too far down.
Yeah.
That'll
We're
be
starting
later.
things off on a good note
Yep.
for the Die Hard franchise.
I agree.
All right, so yeah, I think that would be good for that movie. So,
Yeah.
All right, we're going to head to break real quick, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Be Kind and Rewind.
Would you like to try snacks from faraway lands? Or snacks with bizarre flavors? How about snacks in new ways? Or snacks you've never tried before? You don't have to go far to find these snacks. They can all be found here at Snacks on West First Street.
Yeah, we're walking around campus, and what do we see? All these clubs are looking.
They're looking for me.
There's hockey,
There's improv,
so much to see. So let's go try them out and see how they be. Come on and please watch.
Our embarrassments free.
Tune in to Amateurs on WTOP.
Happy Friday, Lakers, and another beautiful day here in Oswego, New York. I'm DJ Don Perone, and I'm happy that you're starting your weekend off right listening to WNYO 88.9 FM, the Laker Radio Network.
I said, darling, can you see? There's no room for us. There's no room. Now our lives are changing. Promises keep slipping. And I always knew it wasn't you. It wasn't you. Now our lives are changing. Promises keep slipping, and I always knew it wasn't you. It wasn't you.
All right.
Welcome back to Be Kind and Rewind. Let's get right back into the movies with Die Hard 2. Released in 1990, Die Hard 2 again takes place on Christmas Eve. John McClane returns a year later after the events at Nakatomi Plaza and is caught up in another terrorist attack at Washington International Airport.
Yep. McLean now has to stop terrorists led by an ex-colonel turned traitor, William Stewart, and take back air traffic control before a plane carrying his wife, along with several others, crashed directly into the runway.
How will John thwart Stewart's plans? Let's get into it.
All right, so Die Hard 2 is... I've heard mixed reviews on this one.
It is a movie that exists.
It's
the
definitely
best.
something. I would
It's an
say
action movie
that
exists.
if I had to say anything,
It's an action movie that exists.
yeah.
The biggest thing with this one that they're like constantly making jokes. It's like, oh, I can't believe this is happening again.
It's just like, oh, on Christmas again?
Oh,
just like,
and, it's terrorists again.
And
It's like,
It's like, yeah.
it's like that's funny.
Yeah, we
to
know it's a
cer-
sequel.
It's funny to a certain point, but it's also like, when it's the biggest issue with the movie, it's kind of like
Yeah.
you're just kind of making fun of yourself,
And
which I know a lot about.
I will.
No comment.
I will say that this isn't really going to be much of a surprise considering the last villain, but this villain's not nearly as interesting.
He's just a guy.
I mean,
he's really just a guy.
At this point, there were a couple villains actually. I know, like one of them was like some South American like political leader that was being kept
he was
prisoner.
kind of interesting. He was like a prisoner, and then he like breaks out, and it's like,
Yeah, and then this.
so their whole thing is like they're trying to get him because he runs like a smuggling ring.
Yeah.
But like, again, they're just all kind of dudes.
Yeah, he's not.
These
He's not
dudes
Alan
being-
Rickman. That's the
Exactly,
thing.
and that's the issue. That's what I can say about almost every aspect of the movie. It's like, it's not the first one.
Yeah, and
it's
a lot
not
of the
nearly as good.
a lot of the characters that survived the first one didn't show up in the second one.
I
They
mean,
were like
Officer Powell's there for a little bit.
for like a couple scenes, yeah. Because technically, McLean works for the LAPD now in this movie. He doesn't work for the NYPD
So,
because he
yeah,
had
and his wife's pretty
moved
much
with his wife.
is on the plane pretty much the entire time.
yeah. So
Unfortunately.
basically, McLean's the only
Jesus.
returning person that actually gets a good amount of screen time.
Yeah, that pretty much actually gets to do anything. He's a
Mm.
lot of the characters from the last movie are kind of replaced with newer characters, like the one guy who runs all the officers at the airport, and then like the air traffic control guys.
Yeah.
Like,
And then there's that one officer that's like, we don't need your help, John McClane. There's
then-
always one in like every movie.
yeah, that's kind of a running theme in this franchise, where it's like there's always one detective or one other cop that's like, we don't need McClane, he's reckless. But it's like, it's the same song and dance, which, I mean, to be fair, it's more of an issue when we get later in the franchise.
Right, yeah.
But
So
as of now, I mean, this
one's not really all that interesting, I would have to say. But it's still not terrible, I would say.
I certainly cannot say it's terrible.
The explosions in this one are really good.
They're explosions.
They actually did
Stuff goes
successfully
boom.
crash one of the planes.
I mean, stuff goes boom.
Yes, it does.
But
It do go boom.
that is actually another issue I have, though, is it's like they succeed in taking down the terrorists, but then they just celebrate as if a whole plane wasn't crashed full of just innocent civilians. It's
It's like,
I mean, it just seems like a bit of a hollow victory. I don't know.
not the greatest time to celebrate.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get to the rankings for Die Hard Part 2.
He likes it a little bit more than me. I have it at 4.
It's right in the middle of the pack. Also, how about that tagline?
Die harder.
Yeah, so original, guys.
Making it even more clear, we have no original ideas for this one.
Yep. All right, so
I say we can get to the next one.
let's wrap it up.
So we can get
All
to the
right,
next one.
next one. Yeah. Die Hard with a Vengeance. Yes, that's the actual name of this movie. That takes place a couple of years after the second movie in New York City.
The great place in New York City. John McClane is called back into action when a terrorist known as Simon threatens the entire city with bombs planted in different locations.
Joining this franchise, Samuel L. Jackson. He plays Zeus Carter, who's an an electrician from Harlem who joins John in his attempt to stop this cryptic terrorist. So yeah, this one's
It's
pretty-
a Die Hard movie with Samuel L. Jackson.
yeah. I do think that Samuel L. Jackson is one of my favorite parts of this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
I
He's
think
one of
that-
the best parts of the movie.
He absolutely kills it.
I mean, just kind of in every movie Samuel L. Jackson's ever been in, he just steals like every scene.
Mm-hmm.
He's a scene chewer to the highest degree,
Yeah,
and I love him for it.
I do have to say though, like, I don't know about this villain. I mean, I feel like at this point I'm just kind of talking about the villains, but you know.
I mean, it's part of what makes the first one so good, so you expect the same
it's
quality.
a very high bar to get ahead of.
I think this villain is better than any of the ones in the second movie, though, personally. This is Hans Gruber's brother,
Yeah.
who is back and looking for revenge against John McClane, although not really, because that's a bit of a twist where it's like, oh, actually, they just wanted money.
Yeah, like everybody kind of assumed that that
it's
was
like,
kind of it. Especially like when they were, like a lot of the time they make sure that McClane does something, and
yes.
like McClane and Carver go around the city. I know at one point they're at this, they keep calling payphones.
Yeah, it's
and-
like kind of this like, if you've seen the Saw franchise, almost like a Saw aspect where they're constantly playing games or like constantly like doing things that they're being told to in order to survive and not have bombs explode all around the city.
It's weird to think about Saw in a action movie, but even though this was 9 years before the first Saw movie came out.
Saw with John McClane, though, is kind of a movie it's kind of this movie, but it's actually kind of a movie I want to see now. 'Cause-
Yeah.
well, not now. We can't get it now.
Well, man,
Well, that just
maybe
makes-
one
that
of
just
us will
makes
make
me
it.
sad because Bruce Willis is not
He's
in the best of health anymore.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
that's one of the things unfortunate about this franchise is we can't really do it without Bruce Willis.
No, I don't think it's one of those roles you can't replace.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just my opinion on the matter.
I will
I'll get on
say
my soapbox.
I will say about Zeus Carver, I know there's not really a lot of points where they could put him back in the franchise, but I'm a teeny bit disappointed that Samuel L. Jackson isn't in the rest of the franchise other than this movie.
At least like as like
Yeah.
a little quick cameo or something.
Yeah, you could do
I
it
thought would be
with
cool.
what they did like with Powell in the second movie.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then also even Powell. I mean, he just disappears from the franchise.
Yeah.
As
and
like, well,
so-
so does John's wife.
Honestly, yeah, because
They're kind of split in this movie, even though they're not divorced.
yeah,
Because he kind of wanted to stay in He ended up deciding he wanted to stay in New York and blah 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 blah. Like,
all right. So, all right, let's get this one
get
on the
more
board.
rankings. I like it a lot more than you. I have it at number 2.
I didn't really like it that much, honestly. I didn't think it was super great.
This guy.
Honestly, everything other than Samuel L. Jackson for me, not really the greatest. I
I'd
know
like-
that's my opinion.
I'd
but
like to
I'm
remind
entitled.
everyone he's a Panthers and Red Sox fan. Panthers and Red Sox fan.
We do not bring that up anymore.
Yes, we
Anyway.
do.
Oh my God. All right, so now let's move on to the fourth movie.
The franchise takes a turn into the digital world with the 2007 film Live Free or Die Hard. Fun fact, it is the only film in the franchise to have a PG-13 rating.
A group of hackers led by a cyber terrorist named Thomas Gabriel attempt to set a fire sale to the government, which is basically a cyber attack that will damage the nation's infrastructure.
Timothy Oliphant and Mary Elizabeth Winstead both joined the franchise as Gabriel and John McClane's daughter, Lucy.
So Lucy appears a little bit in the first movie as a child, obviously.
As a kid, yeah.
So in this movie, she actually goes by, I'm pretty sure she actually does go by Lucy Gennaro McClane.
Yeah, just Gennaro.
Yeah.
She even says, like, when John goes to see her, it's like, it's
Yeah.
not McClane, it's Gennaro.
Right.
And it's kind of, you're been there, done that, like, rebellious teen doesn't like their father.
Yeah,
or
that type of
mother.
thing.
Yeah. But, I mean,
So-
they play it well enough, and it's not too much of the movie. Because basically we go right from that to John picking up,
Up the hacker Farrell.
played by Justin Long.
Yeah, another guy that showed up in this movie. I can't believe I didn't put him in the script.
Come on, man.
I mean, I put in Timothy Oliphant because he's in Scream 2.
And we've reviewed that.
Yeah.
Go check that episode out.
So, yeah, I actually didn't know he was in this movie until...
I don't think either of
Yeah.
us did, but both of us the whole movie were just like, we know that guy.
It's just like he looks
he
so
looks
familiar.
so
I mean, he's-
familiar.
he looks a bit older and a bit different. So
He looks. I would say he aged pretty well. He doesn't
Yeah.
look that much older, realistically.
I mean, what was the gap between these? Like 7-8 years?
Something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, something like that.
that would make
So,
sense. And
good.
I honestly don't hate him as a villain.
yeah,
I think
he's-
that's a little.
He's not bad. I would
Yeah.
put him like he's in the middle of the pack of the villains in this franchise, because
Yeah.
for me, he's like kind of a wimp. Like he sets all this stuff in motion where he's like trying to basically take the entire country down
Yeah.
because he's upset that they basically ridiculed him and told him his ideas were stupid. And then when he tried to prove himself right by breaking into a government building, he was ostracized.
Pretty much.
So, which like it's like good going, idiot.
It's just like you can't.
Like I don't feel bad for you, sir.
Yeah, you can't go into a government building no matter whatever.
An issue I do have with this movie as well is that we have fully leapt past like John McClane just being a regular cop
Yeah.
who can survive fairly regular stuff. He's this is the. I mean, it gets worse in the next movie too, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
We'll talk the
But-
next movie.
he basically is a
on.
superhero in this movie. I mean, the stuff he's able to get through. I mean, he's jumping
Yeah.
on trucks. He's jumping on planes.
I know he was like on the wing of a plane at some point. in
Of a
this movie.
fighter, of an army fighter jet.
That's
like-
crazy that they like. Oh
and then
my-
like slides off of it down. It's like, what? Again,
Yeah.
we have leapt so far past believability, which it's fun in its own way.
Yeah.
But also like,
it kind of is.
yeah, I don't know. What do you have any more thoughts you want to say?
I mean, not really. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and she's not in this movie a whole lot, but you know she's pretty good in her role as Lucy. And that'll be it. So
Yeah, that'll do it.
let's get to the rankings. I have this at my number 2.
This is middle of the pack for me. Still very fun, but I have some issues that just kind of hold it back for me. I have a few more issues than you with it.
Yeah, I think that it's also really, really good. I think that I don't know. I just really like Timothy Oliphant a
Yeah,
lot as
I
this
do.
movie.
I
I don't
do.
know
I
if
do.
I like that villain a lot more than you do, or if I'm just
You do.
if I'm just weird.
I think you like him a lot more than I do. Pause.
All right. Well, okay. So we're gonna take another break real quick, and we'll be right back with the 5th movie on Be Kind and Rewind.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Major Discussions.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Hey there, I'm Al Roker, class of 76. Yes, way back in 76. Back when the earth was cooling. You're watching WTOP.
Welcome back, movie fans. Let's jump right back into the action with A Good Day to Die Hard.
Is it ever a good day to die hard, though? I mean,
Not really. So, the 5th installment in this franchise sees John McClane travel to Russia to pick up his newly introduced son, played by Jai Courtney.
Snooleys, that's one of the worst parts. But in the process, Jack and John become caught up in a plot involving a Russian government whistleblower named Yuri Komarov and a secret file that incriminates a high-ranking government official.
John and Jack McClane both must escape Russia while also trying to stop the Russian government scheme. But a fascinating twist then occurs. So yeah.
Is it fascinating? I don't, you know.
Nothing about this movie is fascinating.
Yeah,
I'm just going to
I
say
can't-
it right now.
Respectfully, I know, like, you can never really make fun of a movie because they made a movie, you know, and that's really difficult as someone who's done a film class
Yeah.
with zero budget. You know, I can confirm, and you can also confirm, making
know.
films is not easy.
I've had to
However,
make several film projects. And
I've been in some of them, in fact.
Exactly.
However, I have an issue with bad movies.
Or maybe movies that clearly have the opportunity to be good, but spend all their time in the wrong places.
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean,
where do we begin?
None of these characters are written too interestingly. I mean, Jai Courtney's okay.
He's fine.
And just
he's kind of bad. There's some parts where he's just really wooden. It's like, what are you doing here, John? It's like,
yeah, that's a whole
whole
thing
subplot.
with him. It's just like
he doesn't refer to his dad by dad. He's just like, what are you doing here,
just
John?
another edgy teenager mentality.
Even though he's not a teen, he's an adult who's working for the CIA.
Exactly, and he's
because that's also a twist. Because at first John thinks he got himself arrested.
Yeah, but he's actually undercover for the CIA in this whole scheme that's going on.
Yeah.
Another twist is Yuri actually turns out to be one of the bad guys.
He turns out he is using this whole thing as like leverage to basically make him. I guess to make himself the leader.
It's to make him. It's to make him and his daughter rich.
Because they have the current leader offed.
Yeah, it's just
so
like,
it's like I guess maybe the plan. They don't even really say. He just kind of turns.
From what I heard, I was looking around on Wikipedia before.
The most reliable source.
Yeah, I know, but I was looking around on Wikipedia and I saw that it was like he basically got rid of this high-ranking government guy because the government guy believed that he had like a file that contained his like some like incriminating evidence against him. But then it turns out that he just did that because he wanted to steal a whole bunch of uranium to sell on the black market. So
basically the whole point was tra-la-la-la-la.
Yeah, you know.
Just decided to be a massive troll so that he could eventually sell uranium.
Yeah. And then we'll get into something else in this movie in our train wreck in a few minutes. But
oh,
yeah.
Yes, we will.
So, I mean,
I think you can guess, but
we don't
we'll
even
put
need
it up.
to show it, but there it
last.
is. Also, another great tagline.
Yippee-ki-yay, Mother Russia.
Which for some reason is like see-through. I don't know why. It's
Even
like
the poster's bad, yeah.
Yeah. It's also low
Everything
quality,
is
that's
bad.
my bad.
This is one of the worst movies we've
And it came out
reviewed.
on Valentine's Day, your favorite holiday.
That was cold. That was messed up.
I'm kidding.
You know,
I'm kidding.
let's just get to the train wreck.
Let's just get to the train wreck, yeah. All right, so
We have a little segment on the show that we like to call the train wreck of the week, as you can see
Yeah.
the graphic behind us.
and that is the worst thing in the franchise.
The
From
worst?
from our opinion, it could be a scene, it could be a segment, it could be any small detail.
Could be a single frame of the movie, even just whatever we dislike the most. Could be an entire storyline, just
And
whatever we dislike the most.
so all right, so let's take a look at it.
It is the like little title crawls that look like they were made in iMovie. I could make that.
Yeah, like legitimately, this looks like
You know, in fact,
this looks like a 13-year-old.
I guarantee our graphics guy Andrew, guarantee he could make
Yeah.
better. He could make a better title crawl than this.
He probably could. I know.
Yeah, it's
Like literally all they did was make part of the actual title red. That's all they did.
and then you got a good movie on your hands apparently. They
Yeah,
were wrong.
So yeah, this is not.
It's not it, folks.
Yeah, and what's even worse is like we brought up the budget for this.
This movie clearly.
They had
We should have looked up the
all
budget.
sorts of vehicles for this movie. Like
Mercedes, Bentleys,
yeah,
and this
there was a
is what we got.
yeah. So yeah, they basically just did this over a scene for their title card. Like
Yeah.
you'd think
You think some care. That's all we want, some care.
this is one of the greatest action franchises of all time, and this is how the graphics guy
Austin, we
treats
can
it.
see $92 million budget.
I know.
$92
And this is
million.
this is all that they come up with. And this is like Fox during the Super Bowl type of awfulness.
I think we need to
we
get
need
past that.
get this off our screen. Get
Get
it
the
off.
final. Get our final rankings up here before we.
All right, so there is our final rankings. It's first and last are the same.
Then we have a little bit of disagreement in the middle, as usual.
Yeah. For some reason, we had very differing opinions on Die Hard with a Vengeance.
I'm just better at seeing movie quality, you know, because my opinions are always right.
Is this for saying that thing about February 14th?
Absolutely.
Oh, God. Oh, right. Yeah.
I mean,
So,
do we have anything else to say?
I mean, I guess the posters are pretty cool. This
Most
one's
of the
pretty cool.
posters are
Yeah.
good, yeah.
I do
Except
like
this one. You get out of here.
We don't want anything to do with that movie.
That one's
Get
that
out.
one's get it out. I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
But-
that's pretty much it.
it's pretty much it.
So,
I mean,
yeah. So that was our first episode of Be Kind and Rewind.
for the semester,
Yeah, for the semester, and now,
we got an announcement.
yeah,
Next week, not next week.
next show.
Next show, we will be covering the first. Is it 6?
6
The
Harry
first
Potter.
6 movies in the Harry Potter franchise.
And then the episode after that, for the
Maybe
first time ever,
the
we're covering
rest.
one franchise
over 2
in
shows.
2 episodes. Because
I
we're
mean-
also including Fantastic Beasts in that.
Mind-blowing concept, I know.
Yeah.
But
And yeah.
I think
So yeah, that is going to do it for this episode of Be Kind and Rewind. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, remember,
be kind.
and rewind.